Welcome back to Lorenzo to Sense podcast. And today is the fourth episode of the series Invest in AI and Avoid the Bubble, fourth and last. So let's get right into it. In this episode, I'm going through the remaining categories. So go to the first episode to know what are all the categories and to explore all of them. AI powered applications is the first one. So AI-powered applications are smart software programs tailored for specific tasks, like adding AI to your sales dashboard to predict deals. Think about Salesforce Einstein. The barrier to entry is low. Anyone can tweak existing AI with simple tools. Actually, all of the SaaS providers have done it lately. If you are using any SaaS software, and you are, of course, even for your work, you will see that your provider had added some kind of chatbot or support to uh, the same activity that you have always done with that software, right? So I think the key to survival is owning unique data from your niche or build a user base that keeps coming back, creating a loop of more data and better services. Without that, you have seen what happened lately to SaaS stocks in the last week. They have been punished heavily. And the reason is that investors are starting to think, okay, how far they can go with this business model? Will they be disrupted, right? And so I think distribution and stickiness are among the best competitive advantage in this category. Think of companies that are gatekeepers for specific use cases, like CAD companies. A few tools dominate entire industries, and loyal users who have developed their skills on those specific tools rarely switch. These are people that have learned basically designing product with that specific tool, and that is not going to change in a month, even with AI, right? So companies will need to stick with the same tools for decades before they can do anything. Um, and so if these companies are flexible enough to upgrade their tools with AI powered features, they win. These companies can be smart plays, but I'm not invested in them because they won't deliver the returns I expect for the Lorenzo to Sense portfolio. What I mean is these are mature business that are unlikely to grow aggressively. And I'm not saying they will do bad. Maybe they can keep compounding at 15% per year. That is not bad at all. But I'm going after a different kind of return, much higher, as you know, right? So another example in this category is Palantir. Palantir is redefining industries by building a new kind of operating system to run your business based on AI. And it's one of the essential enablers of the AI revolution. So I've owned the stock since the inception of this portfolio, January 2024, and exited into the 2025. The reason isn't that I no longer believe in Palantir, but simply that its valuation made it less attractive compared to other stocks in the portfolio. So far, I haven't found another stock in this category that sparked enough conviction. And as always, let me show what's the revenue trend that I expect from this category, along with the AI capital expenditure, right? So you have in red the AI capital expenditure that is going. So basically, this is the AI super cycle, as I call it. You are going to have it expanding exponentially, and eventually, no idea if this is in 6 months or 6 years. This will cool down, right, and then decrease. That is how every super cycle. And guys, it could last even 10 years. We don't know, 20 years. So not doing any prediction here, but what I'm saying is that AI powered applications if the right one, so as I said, if they have a moat based on distribution, ecosystem, or proprietary data, they are going to keep growing even when capital expenditure will cool down. Of course, at a lower rate, yeah, but they will not fall down alongside with capital expenditure, which is good. Next is AI model. It's the next category. So these are the foundational AI models like large language models, LLMs, that power chatbots and code assistants. Thanks to the explosion of open and open source models, many of these capabilities can now be downloaded, fine-tuned, or reused by anyone with enough skill. Even NVIDIA has released high-quality open models under permissive licenses, so teams can adapt them for their own products without starting from scratch. And this is very important. So there is a commoditization ongoing of models. And because of this, I think pure model quality by itself is becoming less defensible over time. Closed model will increasingly keep their edge where the bar is much higher. Specialized domains like coding assistants trained on massive proprietary code bases or biology models tuned on hard scientific and clinical data. So in practice, sustainable modes clusters around three things working together. Hard verticals, you solve a difficult narrow problem where data regulation or expertise make it hard to copy. Distribution, you sit where users already are, inside the main app, operating system, search bar, or workflow they use every day. Think about Google. Integration, your model is wired into real workflow and systems of record, not just the chat box. It sees the right data, triggers action, update dashboard, respect permissions, and closes the loop, right? So take again a CAD vendor as an example. If they build an AI copilot directly into the design tools and engineers already live in 8 hours a day, trained on years of proprietary design data, that assistance is very hard to displace. A slightly better generic model living on a separate website is much less attractive because it has no access to the same data, no tight integration with the workflow, and no default distribution, right? So the same logic applies to players like Palantir enterprise operating system or to a future AI operating system for factories, hospital, or logistics. The mode is not just the model. It's the combination of hard vertical problem, proprietary data, default distribution, and deep integrations. For most everyday tasks, summarizing emails, answering questions, basic reasoning, the gap between leading open and closed model is already small enough that I don't expect much of a lasting moat at the generic chatbot level. That's why my view is simple. Only PRC models if they are laser focused on hard vertical problems and you control the distribution channels where users actually show up. That's where durable value accumulates. I expect this category to follow a similar revenue trend, so the graph that I have showed 1 minute ago alongside AI capital expenditure, assuming demand and capex last long enough. Next category is AI silicon. Silicon is the physical layer of AI, the chips that make everything else possible, like NVIDIA's GPUs crunching massive amounts of data. This is where the system hits real-world limits. Advanced manufacturing capacity is tight, lead times are long, and every new fab costs tens of billions to build. You can't move fast and break things when it takes years and huge capital just to add more supply, right? That's why Elon is thinking to build its own factory, Terra Factory, I think he called it, because he thinks that even existing suppliers like NVIDIA or TSMC, if you go at the foundry level, will not be able to provide enough chips to sustain the scalability of the intelligence needed for the product of the future, right? So on its own, though, even the best chip is not enough. I mean, it can be enough now that demand is so much higher than supply, but in the long term, the real most show up when you pair the hardware with a sticky software layer and tight integration into AI workloads. That's when customers stop thinking in terms of a GPU and start thinking in terms of a platform that can't live without. NVIDIA is the clearest example, I think. CUDA and the broader NVIDIA software stack have become the default environment for AI developers. Most frameworks, tools, and libraries are optimized for NVIDIA first, which means teams naturally build and tune their system around NVIDIA GPUs. So moving away is possible in theory, but in practice it means rewriting code, retraining models, and rebuilding a lot of internal tooling. That's a powerful kind of lock-in, I would say, right? So even though, of course, hyperscalers have developed and are developing its own chips, I think NVIDIA is in a safe place to be, and all those that pursue a strategy similar to NVIDIA. And again, the same logic applies at the cloud level. Hyperscalers like AWS, Azure, and others sign huge multi-year deals to deploy NVIDIA systems at scale and expose them as managed services. These agreements channel tens of billions of dollars of AI demand into a smaller number of tightly integrated hardware plus software platforms. If your workloads are built on those stacks with their specific drivers, compilers, and orchestration tools, switching is painful. So the lesson from AI Silicon is simple. Chips alone are a good business. Chips plus a deep software ecosystem and distribution through the big clouds can become a fortress. Without that software glue and distribution, even the most advanced GPU risks becoming just another commodity part in a crowded supply chain. And yeah, so let's go into the trend I expect for revenue of this category alongside AI capital expenditure. So as you see, it's quite different from the other graphic, because once capital expenditures goes down, alongside with it, revenue of these companies goes down even more, right? Because of course the trend is always more of revenue. I mean, the market tend to anticipate what is coming. So the price, revenue, and what the market will discount in terms of share prices will be more marked than what is the capital expenditure really doing. So you will see the price of this company really crashing once capital demand and capital expenditure cools down, right? Okay, so AI power, last category. So finally, power, the electricity fueling it all. AI infrastructure is extremely energy intensive, and data center operators are already competing for grid capacity and new generation facilities. At first glance, power looks like a pure commodity with no edge. Everyone buys electron from the same market, right? Not quite. While electricity itself is fungible, strategic advantages do exist. Locking in cheap power through long-term purchases agreement, building near abundant generation sources like hydro, nuclear, natural gas, or even owning generation assets outright. Companies that secure favorable energy access early can maintain cost advantages that persist even when spot prices swing. However, these moats are tied to location, capital, and contracts, not proprietary technology or network effects, which is what I'm looking for always, right? So For the Lorenzo 2 cents portfolio, I see power as table stakes, not a high conviction opportunity. It's critical infrastructure, but the returns and defensibility don't match what I'm targeting with my other AI plays. So while energy strategy matters for hyperscalers and neocloud providers like Nebius securing data centers power, I'm not investing directly in power generation or utilities. So guys, I'm not saying that these kind of stocks will not do well. Actually, most likely they will do. Again, Elon, in one of his last interviews, it's saying that now, and everyone is saying it actually, power is the limiting factor, and it will be until he is not able to deploy hundreds of gigawatt per year of chips in the space, right? Because at that point, what he says is that you will get most of the AI, of the intelligence powered by solar in space. So it becomes probably negligible what you do on Earth, right? But I mean, that could happen in 5 years. Elon is always optimistic, but it could happen even in 10 years. So you're probably going to see, again, an imbalance in supply and demand for power for several years ahead. So, but I'm always looking at risk, and I don't want to be in a bad position even in 5 or 10 years, because ideally I never sell my stocks, right? So what you get, revenue alongside AI capital expenditure, it's exactly this. It's quite similar to the chips graph. So once demand cools down, or at least rebalance with supply, then you will get these stocks crashed, right? If they do not have a recurring business, when they stop selling, when hyperscalers stop investing in power, their revenue will go to zero, right? This is what you will have. So I don't want to be on this spot. Finally, my other picks are Rocket Lab and Mercado Libre. So it looks like these apparently are not relevant for AI, but actually Rocket Lab is the leading public space company focused on small to medium launch vehicles and space systems. Rocket Lab is building an end-to-end space company aiming to compete with SpaceX. So far, it has successfully scaled a small launch vehicle, Electron, from the ground up, and is now preparing to enter the medium lift market in 2026 with its Neutron rocket, targeting a segment currently dominated by SpaceX Falcon 9. So the company's competitive edge comes from vertical integration, manufacturing nearly all components in-house, and exceptional leadership under the founder Peter Beck. So why is this an AI play? Why I think this is an AI play? Space infrastructure is becoming critical to AI's future. AI models need massive amount of data, and much of that data will come from space. Earth observation satellites for climate modeling, agricultural optimization, disaster response, and autonomous systems. Additionally, as AI compute demands grow, there is a serious discussion, what I've just explained, about space-based data centers to access abundant solar power and natural cooling. Rocket Lab provides the launch services and satellite manufacturing capabilities to make this infrastructure possible. As AI drives demand for more satellites and space-based services, Rocket Lab is positioned to benefit directly from that secular growth trend. So I expect these characteristics will make Rocket Lab compound for the foreseeable future. And Rocket Lab is already multi-bagger for me. It's around 10x, right? Okay, last one, Mercado Libre. So the backbone on Latin American's digital economy, poised to benefit from continent-level network effect. A full-stack Amazon e-commerce plus PayPal fintech platform using its scale, logistics, and data to build an unbeatable commerce moat that feeds a sticky, high-margin fintech ecosystem across payments, credit, and financial services. By the way, guys, I think I have quite original thesis about Mercado Libre, so go check on lorenzo2cents.com my thesis, my deep dive, because it's quite deep, and yeah, I think you can learn something, so go there and check it. Why is this an AI play? Mercado Libre is quietly becoming an AI infrastructure layer for Latin America's consumer economy. It uses AI to optimize logistics and deliver routes, fight fraud, score credit risk, and personalize recommendations across commerce and fintech. On top of that, it is rolling out AI-generated advertising, so even small sellers get high-performing creatives and building AI-powered internal system to drive real-time decision at scale. This is what they are doing. So the result, Meli doesn't just benefit from AI demand, it is turning its data distribution and infrastructure into an AI native Rails system for commerce and finance in Latin America. I expect these characteristics will make Mercado Libre compound for the foreseeable future. Okay, guys, we are at the end. So if you are a premium subscriber, you can, even if you're not, you can check my article on lorenzo2cents.com. But if you are a premium subscriber, you will get a premium section where I go deeper on what is the Lorenzo2cents portfolio strategy for this year, given what I've just told, right? So thanks for listening, and see you soon. Ciao.